Okay, I guess as you notice, this one looks a little bit different. The company doesn't have a PowerPoint that goes with this section, so I made something up from what we have in our textbook. So let's give it a whirl. Today we're in Chapter 2, Lesson 4, Writing Linear Equations. Our new vocabulary: slope-intercept form, point-slope form, parallel, and perpendicular. These are our Common Core State Standards and our mathematical practices that we'll be using when we do the exercises. So pause for a moment and read those, and then continue on when you're ready. Previously, you determined slopes of lines, and today we're going to write an equation of a line given the slope and a point on the line. And then secondly, we're going to write an equation of a line parallel or perpendicular to a given line. This should be pretty much a review of what you've done before, so we'll just go very quickly through it. First of all, there's the forms of equations. Now this is sort of proving a slope-intercept form. So say that you've got a line that's going through point A, and notice B is where it's intercepting the y-axis, and then point C, and it's just an xy value. What they're doing here is using the slope formula, and they're substituting in, they're saying point A is x1, y1, and point C is x2, y2. Substituting it in to find the slope, and then solving for y. So they multiply both sides by x and then add b. So y is equal to mx plus b. So that's the symmetric property of equalities, how we can flip that around. So equations written in this format are called slope-intercept, where m is the slope and this is the y-intercept. Slope-intercept. The slope-intercept form of the equation of a line is y is equal to mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is its y-intercept. Make sure you understand this. Have this in your notes. You can go ahead and draw lines to show what the slope is, m, and y-intercept b. And you say, why m for slope? I have searched different places and they say they cannot for sure say where it came from, but m is a French word, begins with M, that talks about climbing up a mountain or the slope of a mountain. So that's why they say it has the M instead of an S. Who knows? If you're given the slope and the y-intercept of a line, you can find an equation of the line by substituting the values of M for slope and B into the slope-intercept form. Let's see what that looks like. So here we're given that the graph intersects the y-axis at a -2. So let's check that out. Sure enough, it crosses at a -2, and we're told that b is -2. Well, we have to find the slope. We need the slope and the y-axis, the intercept. So we've got points -4, -1, and 0, -2. So we're going to find the slope of that line. So we've done that before in the previous lesson. So instead of m, we can put the -1/4, and we're told that it crosses the y-axis at a -2, so there is our -2. So that's how we can write the equation of that line. So here are two I want you to practice on. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for these lines that are described. So these are guided practices, 1A and 1B. So pause the video, work these problems, and then on the next slide you'll find the answer. Okay, for A, y is equal to 4/3 x plus 4, and for B, y is equal to -4x minus 6. Did you get that? Now, if you know the slope of a line and the coordinates of a point on a line, you can use point-slope. So you noticed point-slope. That's why it's called point-slope form. So here's the equation you need to use to find the point-slope form. Make sure you have this in your notes. You'll be using this quite a bit. This x1 and y1 are actually the coordinates, and m is the slope. All we have to do is substitute. So this is the x and that's the y, and in place of m we're going to put that -4. 6 goes, that's the x value, and -2 is the y. And just do the math, just simplify. So the equation of this line from a point and a slope is y is equal to -4x plus 22. So pause for a moment and study that if that confused you a bit. Now here's a standardized test example. They want to know which is an equation of the line that passes through these 2 points, -2, 7 and 3, -3. So we're given 2 coordinates. So I instantly think, oh, I can find the slope of a line when I have those 2 coordinates, and that's the first thing we do. So we find that the slope of this line is -2. Now we can use the point slope form now that we've got this slope, and it doesn't matter which point you pick because that line's going to go through both of them. So pick either one. Looks like here they've picked the second point, 3, -3, to substitute in. So -2 is the slope that you found over here, and using the point, that point 3, -3, we find out that the equation is y is equal to -2x plus 3, which just happens to be answer B. Good job. Here's some guided practice. Which is an equation of the line that passes through these 2 points? So what do you need to do first? Good job. You need to find the slope first. Then you're going to substitute that slope in either one of these points into point slope form to find out what's the equation of this line. So pause for a moment. Did you get the answer F? The answer is F. Good job. If you didn't, why don't you go back and look at your math? Maybe you just made a little error in the mathematics, in the arithmetic. And finally, we're learning about parallel and perpendicular lines. So the slopes can help you determine whether 2 lines are parallel or perpendicular. Now, they're parallel if they have the exact same slope. Notice these 2 have the exact same slope. They're perpendicular if the slope is the opposite, which this one's positive, so this one's negative, and the reciprocal. This is 3 over 1, so 1 over 3. So our last example, write an equation of a parallel or perpendicular line. So we're given, they want it in slope-intercept form, and we're given the point 5, -6, and it's to be perpendicular with this equation. So if it's perpendicular, what is the slope going to be? Right, it's going to be the opposite, so this is negative, so it's going to be positive, and the reciprocal is 2 over 3 then. So we've got the new slope, and we can just substitute that in for m, and we're given the point 5, -6, and just substitute that in. Then we can graph both equations to verify that our solution is correct. So we can see that these do intersect each other at a 90-degree angle. I've already got the answer here, so I want you to practice this one to write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 3, 7 and is parallel to the line with the equation y is equal to 3/4 x minus 5. So if it's parallel, it's got to have the same slope. So go into point slope form and substitute in that point. Good job. You're done for today. You are ready to start the exercises.